16 bags and clothes have been stored here. And as we speak right now, water cannons from the GSU are still trickling in to try and bring down the fire that is going on. We are waiting for Adamson Bungei to come and address us officially, but he had already talked to KTN with the numbers, but as we speak right now, from that time, that is 1 a.m. in the morning up to now, he hasn't also talked, but we are still hoping that as he comes, he will give us the exact numbers of people who are dead, the people who have been taken to different hospitals within Nairobi. But we have information that different hospitals within Nairobi, that is Mama Lucy, Kibaki, Embakasi, we have Mbagathi Hospital, Kenyatta Referral. All these hospitals are busy right now trying to contain the numbers of people who are being taken there with injuries and burns. We have also talked to different residents within this area that they witnessed firsthand on what really happened, and we have gotten different versions. But again, as we speak, Dimal, we are here to try and just witness and see if indeed the fire that has been on from 1 a.m. up to now, as we speak, it is still on, it will be brought down. But again, I must say it is a place where it is risky, where buildings have been broken here, and the water that is here, that is being used, also the pressure, buildings are weaker here. So we are trying to at least take cover as we go on air within this area where the fire is still on.
Right, and we're given to understand we had the government spokesperson, Isaac Mwaura, also weighing on this particular issue that occurred at this particular premise that we can hear Otis Francis giving us information from. We'll try and also reach out to the government spokesperson momentarily to just also get his sentiment. This, as you're watching it right now, is a gas filling company near Kabansora in Embakasi, Nairobi County, and this is where the explosion happened just a few hours in getting into the witching hours of the night, as we've just heard from our reporter Odi Francis there. Odi Francis, just momentarily, you spoke about the police commandant that he will be giving a brief. We're given to understand as well, maybe is also a briefing the upper reaches of government right now. Is that true?
So far, we are still on hold. We've been told to wait for the Nairobi commandant, that is
Odi Francis, with some also technical challenges with, but at least we've gotten the scope of the information that we need, and he's of course been bearing the brunt overnight together with the other multi-agency team that is comprising of Nairobi County Fire Brigade and the National Police Service, Kenya Red Cross as well, and the E+ ambulance, who are leading the efforts to combat the fire. As you can see, devastation there. This was an explosion, and you can see some of the gas cylinders there, embers of the charred, of course, wreckage within the gas plant there. And I just want to have with me my panelists who were set for the show this morning, but they're waking up to this somber news as well. And 2 people so far have died. And if maybe you're working around that area, you want to also be cautious a bit, because I know there can be a bit of inconvenience this morning, so that as they try to access, and many multi-agencies, as I've mentioned, are here, they're bound to be a bit of interruption with traffic. This is the latest we're waking up to, and by the way, also we have critical people who have sustained serious injuries And we have our reporters on the ground at the Kenyatta National Hospital, and also Mama Lucy. We'll try also and hear from Mikey Hacker as well, and the Chief Officer of Disaster Management within Nairobi County, that is Bwana Bramwell. But let me just hear from our panelists this morning. I'm holding court and I've created first time with Dr. Martin Olo, who is an advocate of the High Court. Also, we have Kipruto Arap Kirwa, who is a governance and policy analyst. We have also with us Professor Fred Ogola. Fred Ogola is an economist, be joined momentarily as well by Dr. Isaac Kalua Green, who is the party leader of Green Action Party, Green Action Thinking Party. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Right. And maybe if we could just have the pictures back so that at least my panelists can also be following that as we just speak over the pictures. Let's just hear from here. We hear from you, Dr. Martin Olo Sumba. This one, if I may just set the conversation, also takes us back to, was it 2008 there, 2007, when we had the Nakumat saga at the city center. It was due to a gas explosion, and I think also the government came up with some regulations regarding how the gas cylinders are handled in this country. But this was a gas plant, so these things sometimes they do happen. Very unfortunate. Good morning.
Morning, Dibal, and thank you for having me here. I think the most important thing that we should be looking at is to say any life that we lose as Kenyans is regrettable, and therefore we must pass our condolences to the families of those who have lost their lives. We wish to ask that God helps those who are critical to recover quickly, and also to pray that those in government also get the wisdom to intervene in a manner that is effective and also fairly long-lasting. Because these incidences of fire, I think this week alone, we have seen 2 instances of fire. I mean, apart from this one, there was the Mudhurwa one. And so what we are also seeing is to say, look, unless we prepare ourselves for these kinds of emergencies, unless we also take care of our various industrial, manufacturing or productive activities, they are going to endanger life. It is enough to have a warning that a gas plant is one that is prone, or one that can easily be a danger to the neighboring, a danger to the citizens living around it. So in the first instance, therefore, if you're in this business, precaution, also the siting of these kinds of industrial activities ought to be in places that are actually fairly distant from crowds. Now, what you have seen here in Embakasi and what you saw the other day in Mudhurwa are symptomatic of fairly, dense, accidents like this happening in dense populations, and with it, disastrous consequences. So basically what we should be saying is, look, we need to learn from this. Accidents do happen, no doubt about it, you can't blame anybody. But there are precautions, both in terms of professional engineering, in terms of construction, in terms of environmental. There are precautions that we need to take and enforce so that we do not have these kinds of disasters. And when they do, the damage or the effect should be minimal. So that's really what we should be praying for. Wisdom and the right action from those who enforce decisions and those who make decisions.
Indeed. Yeah. Industrial area, just the moniker or the name itself, gives you that idea that this is a preserve for just, industrial actions that are happening or activities so far. But, well, in the environment that we live in, we have also to have workers who are near the industrial place. But does this also just give room for maybe a review of legislations, especially in light of what is happening currently? Because if it's a gas explosion, truly, and we have 160, this number is ticking up, and in critical condition. So far, 2 people have succumbed, and we don't know what will be happening later in the day as we try and put tails on this particular story. I want to hear from you, Kipruto Rapkiro. Good morning.
Yeah, Dibal, first of all, let me join my good friend Dr. Martin Olo in condoning with the families who have lost their loved ones. At the same time, wish fast recovery for those who are already hospitalized. Nonetheless, we know towns develop, and as they develop, certain areas which were seen to be far from human habitation and the city center get closer to us. Industrial area where Nairobi was what it was about 50 years ago was a bit far from a lot of congested residential places. More so given the fact that issues of settlement has given intense pressure to the population of Nairobi, such that people look for just humble abode, even in areas which are seen to be dangerous. I remember there were some other people who were living literally on the line that is supposed to be passing fuel through the normal pipeline. And those are some of the dangerous issues. So what we need to do is possibly to seek the wisdom of those who are responsible for certain regulations, so that when we are talking of environmental impact assessment, one of the issues is to see when you are locating an industrial plant, you allow it to be in a place where, as much as possible, we reduce damage when such things occur. And finally, really, I can see it has been a very coordinated effort from the clips that I've been able to see.
Indeed.
Yeah, by multifaceted agencies. That, to me, is something that we need to take home and applaud those who are involved in trying to safeguard the lives of the people.
Indeed, indeed. All right, let's hear from Professor Alfredo Gola.
Yeah, thank you very much, Debal. I also want to take this chance to condole really with the family and even the friends who have lost their relatives and friends, and also, of course, with those who have got injuries that maybe they can get quick recovery from those hospitals. Remember, the healthcare system in Kenya is facing a lot of challenges at the moment, because remember, in those low urban areas, when those people get accidents like that, some of them don't have medical insurance. Healthcare is very expensive. Remember, those families really need help. So I'll call upon the government to come in handy and maybe foot the bills of those people. You know, it's also livelihoods lost there. When you get burnt and you are in hospital for long, who will fed for you? I've seen this very difficult situation. The other time I was in Kibera. There's a family in Kibera that fell into this river called the Kogalo Bridge. The family, there's a child who fell in the water. Now it is over 30 days. The child has not been found. I'm still hearing that they are still writing letters to each other. So I think the response time, if you leave alone the issue of the incidents here, I think that these incidents also do happen in developed countries, but we see better response time. And I can tell you, Senior Kirwa, if there's an incident, they tell you that they should be writing a letter to, I don't know to which office, and there's disaster management. The bureaucracy in the process of helping such an emergency is really serious. This is, you know, every Kenyan, according to the Constitution of Kenya, we have some rights there. And also they say accidents like this should be treated freely. I remember if you own a hospital just nearby such a place, when you have those, own a hospital too, when you have such like people, when they rush to hospital, you should not ask about a medical bill. But later, the government should be paying this because hospitals cannot be prepared to take care of such emergency because it's very costly. So I see 4 issues that actually we have to look at. One is city planning and urban policy, which is for me is what should be looked at. Every city need to be planned, and there should be urban policy for this. You know, this where maybe you'd like to know, Kiro, I have a degree in city planning and urban policy, so I can understand how it should be done. But even Nairobi was well planned, only that the implementation of that plan has not been done. Nairobi plan has been there for long. Then also there's need to look for responsibility among the agencies. For example, when I was living in Barcelona, if there's a fire, and there's everyone is located in several places where they should respond to fire, turnaround time was given maximum 10 minutes. If you do not respond in 10 minutes, you bear the consequences. But you see, in Kenya, you can get away with anything. So we must be a decent country where if you're in charge of that, I see, for example, these guys put the fire brigades standing in locations. So we want to check what was the response time. Maybe our report on the ground may actually be able to tell you that about. Then, of course, corruption is very key here. That's why you can find that even if you do city planning, urban policy, corruption pervades all these things. So long as corruption is there and people have money, they'll manipulate each and everyone. And I really think that we have to come with serious enforcement mechanism so that we can actually end up ensuring that all these plans we put in place. Do you know, in Kenya and if you like Nairobi, everything has been put on paper. What remains is put on the ground. And I think that that's where maybe we have these incidents as calls upon a time for us to review these things, see how the county government works with the national government, with the healthcare system, with all the agencies. The issue is the coordination among all this that needs to be done. I'm sure maybe this falls under CS Kindiki, the issue of interior and coordination. This is why it should be done.
All right, and this follows some spate of fire. Of course, the breakouts. One was also in Kitengela, I think on Tuesday. And we had an investor who also was left with a 20 million loss. We have also another one that we reported of Juakali, just here, where also there was devastation, of course, of informal sector there, people who were adversely affected, people, also 15 people who also suffered some panic attack after we had an incident in St. John's Girls in Kilifi. These things are bound to happen. But as you mentioned, maybe it's a high time that we try and look at our city, Nairobi City Master Plan, on city planning. When was the last time that, the spatial review of a city was done, so that we can see this emergence and the rural-urban migration, so to speak. And Nairobi, we have around 6 million people. We cannot really contain. That's why we have all of these building codes which now are being broken. We have skyscrapers, all 10, 12, 15-story buildings, every which way. In terms of just amenities of the cities being affected, the sewers, the water itself is a huge problem. We have people right now digging or maybe sinking some boreholes, lots and lots of boreholes, which also is very critical to sustainability of just, is it the water table of the country, of the city itself, and even now the structure, integrity of the buildings, the foundations now, if you have all these balls everywhere, I don't know how regulated they are. That also is a big worry. I think that should be smack dab in the middle of the Green Thinking Action Party. Dr. Isaac Alogusi, good morning.
True. And
before you say something, you want to jump in?
Add on to that, the issues of climate change. He talked about Barcelona this morning. Barcelona are crying. They have a water crisis. So there are things that we can talk about. But he says he's a city planner. The planning is not our problem. Our problem is to put things into effect and to do it properly. Welcome.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. And
maybe just I should prime our viewers before you go on, for them that are waking up to and they're wondering what's happening in Embakasi blast, and maybe to just give them a snippet of what is happening this morning. You're waking up to, excuse me, the pictures which are coming to you live from Embakasi. This is a Kasanbora gas plant there where there was an explosion earlier in the night, and so far we have 2 people who have been reported dead. Excuse me, allow me to just clear my flames as well. And we have also casualties in Mama Lucy Hospital. Also, we have casualties in Komarok Medical Facility, Kenyatta National Hospital. They are in critical condition as we speak. Multi-agency team comprising of the Nairobi County Fire Brigade and the National Police Service, Kenya Red Cross, whom we'll be speaking to momentarily, also to just prime us and give us fresh details of what is the latest development. Also, the E-Plus ambulances are leading the efforts to combat the fire. We showed you earlier the pictures were there. You could see how the huge plume of smoke was just billowing to the sky. This should be also a precautionary, of course, picture to residents around there, especially for the respiratory diseases, or maybe they can be affected by that as well. The plume of smoke can sometimes affect many people who are asthmatic as well. So residents living near the scene, as it's being reported, are reported to have experienced tremor-like reactions immediately after the explosion. It just goes to tell you what was really happening before the explosion. There was sort of an earth tremor. You can just feel the magnitude of that particular explosion if there was a tremor. Dr. Isaac Kalu just mentioned something that we'll be reporting to a reporter briefly.
Thank you. I pray that God comforts the family of families